Okay, great. We are live. So hi, everyone. Welcome to today's community demo. I'm Nofar. I'm a Foreman developer in the Rock team, and I'll be your host for today's demo. Let's go through our channel for messaging. So for any questions, comments, you can reach out to us at the Foreman group on Metrics or here in the Google chat if you're live with us. This is our agenda for today's demo. We only have 2 topics. Ian is going to do a demo more developer focused, and I'll do a demo for this Foreman release, the 3.14 release, which now the community is working on the GA of it. Okay, so let's get started. I'll go first. So I'm sharing my screen already. Just change between the slides. Yeah, so for today's first topic, I'm going to show you an update that we did to support the Ansible Tower API new URL for AAP 2.5 version or newer. So let's start by going through our provisioning templates. Okay, so if I go here, you can see the Foreman UI. I'm in the provisioning templates page. Let's do a quick search by Ansible. And you can see the 3 first templates are the one we're going to talk about today. So actually, the first template is using the 2 other templates. I'll go ahead and show you. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, so this is the Ansible provisioning callback. And let's explain first what it's being used for. So let's say I'm a Foreman user and I'm using the Ansible Tower. And I have a playbook there that I want to run on my host after I provision it on Foreman. So for that, this template is being used, and this template is being rendered by the Kickstart default template, which is the template we use to provision a host in Foreman. And by the way, everything is documented here. So if you want to go and check our documentation, this is here. And let's go back to our template. So you can see here that we are using the Ansible Tower callback service in case that the host we are provisioning has systemd available. And in case it doesn't have systemd available, we will use the Ansible callback script. So basically, these 2 scripts are the same. The first one is a systemd service, and the second one is a shell script. Okay, so let's go back to our change. Let me demonstrate on a host. So for example, I have this host I created, and this host has this parameter, the Ansible Tower API URL parameter. And to see, this is the value that it has. So this is the new param that we are adding in this change. But I would like to show you what was before, so you can see clearly what we have changed. So this is my Foreman terminal. I'm going to check out to a branch before the actual update. Okay, great. And okay, actually, I need to first I have a migration first that I need to disable. So let's do the bundle exec week. Yeah. So in the PR, we added a migration here. And let's see, yeah, this is the last one. Now, let's remove it so I can show you the changes before we applied it. Here. Okay, migration is down now. and I can go back to the previous state. Great. Let's run the Foreman server. Okay, great. And now I'm refreshing the host, and I want to see the previous param that we had. Okay, great. And now you can see here the Ansible Tower FQDN. And you can also see that the value has been changed. So this is the previous value, only the FQDN. And the new change will change the variable. Let me show you in our documentation. So the new value is going to be Ansible Tower API URL. That's the name of the param. And by default, we're going to have the HTTP prefix to it. And yeah, you can see it here more clearly. So the HTTPS prefix and at the end, the API for the path for the API. Okay, so let's go back to the terminal. I can go back to our recent changes. And I need to run the migration again to see the changes that we applied. And by the way, this will be done automatically in case you're upgrading your Foreman from basically to 3.14, where we are introducing this new change. Great. And let's refresh the host. I'm expecting to see the new param and the new value of it. Yeah, great. You can see the name has been changed and also the value of it. As I mentioned, we added the HTTPS prefix and at the end, the API path. Now, one thing you should remember regarding this is that this new API path will only work for new versions of AAP. So any version of 2.5 and newer, this new change will be correct. But in case you're using an older version of AAP, you will have to manually update the value of this param. So for older version, this is the correct value. Okay, you will have to delete the controller from the API path. Everything is documented here. Okay, so for AAP 2.4 or older, you will have to use a API v2 instead of a API controller v2. My recommendation is, in case you're not sure which version you're using, because this only applies for AAP, you should manually go and check. Just go copy the link you have and check which path is correct. If the path is not correct, you will get an error. So that's the best way to verify this. And yeah, that is all for me. Any questions regarding this? Yeah, I guess not. So we can go to our second demo for today by Ian. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Transient DNF package support in Katello. So Ian, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you, Nofar. Let me get my screen shared here. I'll be sharing my whole screen since I have a terminal to show. Alrighty. So what I want to talk about today relates to the new support that Katello has for image mode hosts, also known as boot C hosts. The support that we added, and a lot of this will show up in this RFC that I've written. The support that we add is kind of the most basic bare support you need with a little bit of extra information. So you can register hosts, you can see some bootc information about them, and then you can run rex jobs to run these bootc commands to get your machines updated or to switch the container image out, et cetera, et cetera. But there is one issue with these bootc hosts, and it's about package installations. So on a bootc machine, we do let you, and this machine is an image mode host. We can see image mode details about it. It's running a rel 10 image beta. We let you install packages. However, these packages are going to disappear when your machine reboots, because that's how these bootc machines work. They're supposed to be immutable, but we let you install packages for debugging or like emergency reasons. On top of this, DNF has a new transient option here. It's this new, there's this persistence configuration option. So the packages can either persist or not. And it only applies to these bootc machines. And it means that you can install packages without having to type in the bootc overlay command, which kind of feels like it's the command that is made for like development only. In fact, I think when you enter it, it says like entering development mode. Kind of feels like you're, entering hacker mode or like unlocked mode or something. But what's nice is you can now have this transient command, and this is already installed, but it will install fine without using explicitly enabling the user overlay. It still uses the user overlay under the hood, but it's a DNF like native way to do it, which means it's being essentially recommended. And because it's recommended, Katello should be able to actually interface with it. So in this case, and I know this is satellite, it's the same thing. What we have here are some packages I've installed. You would have no idea if they were installed transiently. So what we need to figure out is how to track these transient installs. But we also need to figure out how to install these transient packages in a manner that's the same across all of our different templates. So for example, this is a normal package install template. And this one, okay, this one renders the package action script default. Let me see if I can grab this particular template. So here's the script default package action template. And we see that it just runs normal package manager commands. Let's see. Here's for zipper, Debian. The issue here is, unless you enable this user overlay, you're going to get an error on a bootc machine. So we need to add at least these actions, either this transient flag or an enablement for the user overlay. So that's pretty simple for the trips case. However, there's an issue with the Ansible case. Since we expect these machines to also install packages in Ansible, how do we do that? Ansible doesn't have support yet. I did enter an RFC, and I mentioned that as well in my, or sorry, I entered an RFE in Ansible, and I mentioned that in my Foreman RFC about this transient mode. And so far, because the DNF command kind of simply just uses the bootc overlay under the hood, the Ansible folks recommended that we simply just enable the user overlay ourselves. Now, it's very likely in the future that this DNF transient command is going to evolve as these bootc machines become more popular. and more users request, easy ways to install packages. So the issue then is, how do we maintain kind of the same status quo for both these Ansible scripts and then also this script mode? I think as much as possible, we'll want to use this new transient flag for DNF. However, for places like, and I use this as an example, this OpenSCAP remediation template, because these templates aren't ones that, or the Ansible playbooks aren't ones that we write. They come from somewhere. Same goes for if anyone uses Insights, they have remediations. So we're going to have to likely enable the user overlay in these until they adapt, perhaps in the future, maybe if Ansible provides support. So that's one thing that we're currently discussing in the RFE. Another thing worth discussing is also how our UI should change. So we have these packages. We'll likely want to show somewhere on here, maybe a checkbox or something, that one of these packages is transiently installed. And that's relatively easy. But the big question then is, how do we actually track if these are transient packages? How do we know that it was transiently installed? I took a look with libdnf, and it looks like today it's very difficult to get that information. I mean, if you do on my machine here, if you do like let's see, like a DNF history, I can't remember what the full command is. Let's try DNF history verbose. So you can tell, at least in the command line thing that was saved, that these are transient, but that's not a reliable way to track this. So what I'm hoping for in the future is that libdnf will have some easy way to query if a package is transient or not, which I'm trying to follow up with the DNF team on to figure out what their plans are for that future. Now, if they can give us that information, what would be very nice is a subscription manager would be able to then grab that from libdnf and upload it with the package profile. Let me see if I can remember where the package profile cache is. I think it's in varlibcat. No. Var cache. Let's see. RH. Darn. No, I can't remember exactly where it is. But in the package profile, we have information about all the packages and some metadata about them. And I think the transient flag could potentially just be a new line of metadata. And then Katello would be able to take that in and easily tell which are transient. Now, there's a lot of hope riding on that. And so we need to see where these projects go. But I think it would make sense for, at least on the DNF side, this support to be expanded, because it seems likely, and there's a lot of excitement around these bootsy images, that people are going to want to have more functionality and better ways to track. Because at the end of the day, system administrators are going to have to know what packages are going to disappear the next time they reboot. Otherwise, they'll have no idea about how drifted their system is, especially if these packages are very important security patches. Now, looking into the far future, it would probably be great if we had a way to help users incorporate these transient images into their containers themselves. I'm not sure if Katello will ever actually build containers, but we could at least maybe provide a command or even just some simple help text, essentially, about how you can take these images and build them into your container image, so that you can then push that into Katello, serve that out to your bootsy machines, and they can actually be updated, and so they will keep those RPMs when they reboot rather than have it disappear entirely. So with that said, our immediate plans are to make sure that you can transiently install these packages. That's what we're working on right now. And then in the future, we'll be seeing about how to actually track them. So you can look forward to seeing more information about that, and then hopefully being able to test it in an RC at some point. Not sure if it'll be Katello 417, not sure if it'll be 18, but should be one of the two, hopefully. Anyway, that was more of a update than a demo, but curious to answer any questions if anyone has anything.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah, I don't see any questions, so go ahead and share my screen real quick. Yeah, just to mention that the next demo is as usual in 3 weeks, in April 10th. And if there are no more questions, yeah, I would like to thank everyone for joining. And yeah, see you all next time.